why did you buy that? What were you thinking, Mel? That is just so kind of ugly. Hi my loves, welcome back. So today's video is going to be a tag video. I haven't done a tag video for a while, and this tag is called the Luxury Time Machine, and this was started by Kat from Kat L. So thank you so much for tagging me. Also thank you to Amy from Fashionably, Amy, and Dale from Dale's Addiction for tagging me. Sorry it took so long, but I wanted to do this tag because I thought it was very interesting. So Kat's tag is, if you had a luxury time machine and you could go back, what are some things that you can say, okay, yeah, you did pretty well on that. I wouldn't change anything. And what are some things that you regret? So I have got 10 things to share with you today, 5 things that I think I did pretty well on, and 5 regrets. So let's get straight into the video. Okay, so let's start off with a positive. So one thing that I think I did really well and I wouldn't change at all is that I started my Chanel collection really early. I've got some examples and some eye candy to show you. But when I started buying Chanel, I bought a lot of classic flaps first, and I actually bought them pre-loved. One of the first ones I got was actually this gorgeous medium large. I bought this in 2008, and even then it was a few years old, but I think I picked this up for maybe about 2,000-ish Australian dollars. And if you know the prices now, whoa, this is like, I think 11,000. So that's one. Also, I bought this one. When did I buy this? So if you see me referring to my notes, I've just got my notes here. When did I buy this one? So the white one, I also bought pre-loved from eBay in 2014. I think I paid 3 and a bit thousand. So I got a lot of my classic flaps. These are just 2 of the medium large. I also got this as a gift from my husband. This was the first luxury bag that he bought me. And I got this, I think in about 2014 from him. And he paid such a good price, again, pre-loved. So as you guys know, Chanel prices are crazy now. So I'm so glad I bought a lot of my classic flaps early. I even bought my jumbo, which I don't have anymore now, in lambskin. I remember buying that in London and I'm getting, I got the tax refund. I think I bought that in 2012. But yeah, I bought a lot of my Chanel early. So I can say, well done, Mel, you did that pretty well. Okay, let's move to a luxury regret. Now, when I first started my channel in 2016, I showed you guys my Chanel handbag collection. If you haven't seen that video and you want to, take a trip down memory lane, I will link it above. But one thing that I do regret is I had a Chanel jumbo. I'll put a picture up here, in the single flap in this gorgeous sort of electric blue. And I kind of regret letting it go, especially with all the price increases and that you can't even get the single flap anymore. I sold it for, I think, way too cheap. And I really actually miss that in my collection. I don't have a jumbo, but I've got another video coming up shortly about that, hint hint, but I really missed that, and it was a rare color. It was a single flap. It was in amazing condition, not to mention I got it for such a steal. So that's one thing, if I could go back, I wouldn't sell that jumbo. Okay, back to something positive. One thing that I'm really glad I stuck to my guns on is when I got my very first Birkin back in 2016. I'm actually glad I got it when I did. So I didn't even get my first Birkin till I was actually nearly 36. I was 35 officially, but I waited because I knew that, as you guys know, Hermes Birkins and Kellys are pretty expensive. But also I waited because we were on our family trip and I got my first Birkin in Paris. I did a whole series on it, on how to get a Birkin or Kelly. I can't believe it was like 5 years ago now. But as you guys know, I got my beautiful Malachite Birkin, this Birkin 30 in this beautiful emerald green from the Paris mothership store. And I'm really glad that I waited because, you know, in my 20s or even early 30s, I wasn't sort of in the position to get this. My husband and I wanted to make sure we had a couple of investment properties and we had everything paid off and things like that. So I'm really glad I waited. And also, because it was in Paris, it made it even more special. I'm also so glad that I stuck to my guns in terms of the color. Now, a lot of people for their first Birkin go for a neutral, which is completely fine. I understand that because it goes with everything. But my heart was sort of like set on a color, and I just love this green so much. It is still in beautiful, perfect condition, 5+ years old now. And this color is just so me. So this for me was the perfect first Birkin, and I wouldn't change a thing, even if I could go back and pick another color. Okay, now let's talk about something that I was like, why did you buy that? What were you thinking, Mel? That is just so uh kind of ugly, and I've never actually shown you guys this bag on my channel. But talking about overseas trips, I think back in maybe 2010 or 2011, my husband and I went for a trip to Italy, and we had such a fabulous time. I love Italy. I can't remember if this was in Florence, but anyway, I bought this bag. I don't even know why I bought this one, but I'll show you. It's from Bvlgari, and I think I just saw it up on the shelf. This was the time where big bags were so in, like the bigger the better. I think Mary Kate and Ashley, you know, those two twins, Olsen twins. And I bought this bag. So, as you can see, look how big this is. Like, it's just, okay, this is my head. This is how big the bag is. I don't even know why I bought it. I've not even used it for so long. The leather's nice, but I just think it's really big and it doesn't know what it wants to be, I think. And I'm not sure what I was thinking when I got it. Look at the inside. I mean, for that amount of money that I spent on this, I don't even remember how much, but I could have just gone to Chanel or any other brand and bought something classic. I don't know. I don't know what happened to me on that day, guys. I have no idea. So this is a major regret. I would have gone back and said, what were you thinking? Why are you buying that humongous big sack? So that is definitely a luxury regret of mine. So moving on to something positive again. And when I look back at my entire luxury journey, my luxury journey actually started a long time ago, like long time ago. But one thing that I'm glad that I did pretty quickly was actually start this channel. You guys know I started this channel actually like 5 years, pretty much 5 years ago. And I had been thinking about it probably only for a few months before I bit the bullet and I said, you know what? Just do it, Mel. And I actually recorded my first video, which I never published, but then I did again. I'll link it up here. It's like my kids and I react to my very first video. And then I didn't have the courage to post it. But then I think 3 months later or 3 or 4 months later, I'm like, Mel, you love bags, you love luxury, just give it a go, with encouragement from my husband and my friends. So I started my channel 5 years ago, and I'm so glad that I did. I cannot believe the community that we have. I value you guys so much. And looking back at that time, it was just perfect timing. I don't think I could have started my channel actually any earlier, and I'm just glad that I did. So if any of you guys have been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, it might not even be YouTube, it might be you want to start off a business venture or you want to try something new, I say go for it. Life is definitely too short. You just don't want to be left with what ifs. It's always better to have a go, I say. So I'm really glad I started this channel. Okay, so if I had a luxury time machine and I could go back and change something, one thing that I would change is that I think I bought way too much Chanel costume jewelry. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love my Chanel earrings, but I bought way too much. So if I could go back, I would definitely not buy as much and actually invest that in fine jewelry pieces. And I guess we may all kind of start out like this. We buy too much costume and then we get, more into fine jewelry. But I have a huge Chanel costume jewelry collection. And I just think, oh, if I didn't buy, I don't know, 6 Chanel earrings, that could have been one fine jewelry piece. So definitely a regret is that I bought way too much costume jewelry. Okay, looking back, one thing that I wouldn't change, and I think I did well, is that I got into vintage designer really early. I think because of my love for thrift shopping, I just got into buying pre-loved designer. Like I started buying pre-loved designer at least 15 plus years ago. And because of that, I am always hunting around for vintage bargains. And I've got actually 3 examples to show you where I bought an item and then, whether it's 2 years or a few years later, the Maison, whether that be Gucci or Dior or LV, has actually re-released the same bag. Let me give you an example. So this is a vintage Dior clutch that I bought many years ago. I can't even remember how long. I think I picked it up for less than $200. And when Dior came back with their oblique print a few years ago, they had something so similar for, a couple of thousand. So that's one example from Dior. One that was pretty much exactly the same was I bought this vintage Ophidia bag, camera bag, for only a couple $100. And Gucci bought out pretty much exactly the same camera bag, except the logo is different. So I thought it was just a very classic shape. That's why I was attracted to it. And I couldn't believe it when Gucci came out with exactly the same design. What you'll find with designers is that they always dig into their archives and you always see, fashion is cyclical, and a lot of pieces from the 70s or 80s, they've kind of reinterpreted them. But this one here, they pretty much just copied exact. So I did very well on that. Another one that I got before it was even introduced is the LV Khan bag. So I actually have this in 2 colors, and I got it before LV reintroduced their Khan bag back into their collection. The newer one is a little bit different. It's slightly smaller and it does also have a shoulder strap. This doesn't, but you can easily put a shoulder strap on this too. And again, I got this for such a steal. Instead of $4,000, mine was like under $500. So I'm glad that I love vintage designer shopping and I've been able to pick up fabulous bargains. And then something that I didn't do so good in is that I get sucked in when I hear the word limited edition or sale. I'm just a sucker for that. And a specific example, and I've got them here, is LV. Look, LV always have limited edition. That was a limited edition Vivienne. This was one of the Christmas editions. This was another limited edition. I've got the Evasion line as well. I just don't even really use these, and I just get sucked in because I'm like, oh, limited edition, I should get something. I want to get something from every year. So I've learned now, and I really only get the LV limited edition pieces I really love. But I definitely get sucked in by that word, and I'm still learning. But if I could go back, I would definitely buy less of these limited edition pieces, or even, comment below if you get sucked in when the sales advisor tells you, oh, it's the last piece. Yeah, I've been sucked in with that as well. So that's something I'm still learning to be a bit better at. But yeah, that was definitely another luxury regret. And another thing that I regret, and if I could go back in time and do differently, is that when I buy designer shoes, I would not have bought so many pairs of designer shoes that were over 10 centimeters. There's so many pairs now that I have that are just sitting there collecting dust. And if I had to go back and do it again, I would just buy the same version, but in the lower heel. So for all my viewers out there that, you guys might be in your 20s or even early 30s, buy the lower heel. You'll get more wear out of it. I just, as I'm getting older as well, my heel height is definitely getting lower. And I just think I still love that shoe. If only it was, 7 centimeters, not 10 or 11. That is something that I would change. I don't regret buying my designer shoes because I love shoes. I love bags. I love shoes. But I would change the heel height. Just for a little pointer, if you guys are buying designer shoes, just go for the lower heel height because, yeah, they're not only are they more comfortable, but I think they have a lot more longevity. And finally, guys, let's end off with a positive. And one thing I think Mel did pretty well all over the years, and I wouldn't change at all, is that I've stuck to what I love. Yes, sometimes I buy trends, but that's because I love them. And sometimes I buy brands that people don't really like, but I love. And that's why you see with my collection, a lot of the things are still in my collection. Sure, I sell things here and there, but overall, I'm so glad that my collection is what it is today. I built on classic pieces. I bought classic pieces first and then added more trendier pieces. But I just buy what I love. And if I could go back, I would buy a lot of the same pieces. So that is it for this video, guys. I would love to hear maybe one of your luxury regrets or something maybe you think you did really well on. Please comment and let me know. Thanks again so much, Kat, for creating this fun video. I will tag some ladies down below. Do join in the fun. I think it's good to reflect back because all of us, we're not perfect. We definitely make mistakes, but we can learn from them. But we also do need to give ourselves a pat on the back because there are some decisions that we just wouldn't change at all. So have a wonderful day or night, guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will catch you soon in my next video. Bye.